The Boys Season 4. I'm recording this one episode before, well, one episode prior to the finale because I want to get all my thoughts together and just talk about it for a bit. It's been a pretty interesting season seeing the dynamic between Sage and Homelander and the new introduction of Firecracker as well. I for sure think Firecracker will not make it to the end of the season. That's what I think. Sage, I'm not sure either, because they do this every season. Every time they introduce like a new villain character, it always comes just back to Homelander. Well, I'm completely fine with that. It's a formula that works, and stick to that. Some things noteworthy to mention in this episode were the return of Webweaver. He was disgusting. Absolutely vile. It was a funny scene, but I was kind of hoping they'd play it a little longer just to enhance the idea that it was very uncomfortable to watch him basically, shit himself, but with his webs. It's a very, I would say, disgusting way to interpret Spider-Man, but it works for the universe it's set in. The boys are working on a way to get the virus back in this episode. They succeed. I forgot his name. The scientist guy. He does it with Frenchie's back. That's right. Frenchie comes back, and he is not happy to be back. He's quite upset that he can't repent for his sins in the way he thinks he can. Kimiko's upset that he didn't want to talk to her. But throughout this episode, they work things out, and I think they come to an understanding of how to deal with their trauma and how to deal with being able to live with themselves because of the things they've done. Oh yeah, Billy Butcher, oi oi oi. He is also on his little own redemption arc. Not really redemption, but just struggling with what he thinks he has to do. Either, honor the memory of Becca or go through with genocide on superheroes. He ultimately chooses, his choice. I'm not going to spoil it. Oh, actually, fuck it. I am going to spoil. They fire Sage. Homelander, gives into his little bitch mode and is like, "Oh, she doesn't agree with me. She's taking too long." Homelander is really an impatient baby. Really, he's not mature. He thinks I don't know. It's just, I think if he just worked with Sage, I think if he does just work with Sage, he could still do it. Probably not though. I think he probably would win because she is the smartest person on earth. The boys could not possibly, win against that. And some things look like they're going against Sage, but she planned the whole thing out. One thing I don't understand is why she would keep Homelander out of it, though. She could have just told, yeah, I'm having A-Train leak shit. He would have been like, oh, okay. Maybe he would have gotten upset. Maybe she knew he would get upset. But I think there's more... I think... you know what? I'm just making fanfic at this point. It doesn't matter. But yeah, she's fired, so she's no longer in the circle. But some parts of her plan are still going on in the background. Because, spoilers, in the end of the episode, we figure out that the shapeshifter that was found in an apartment in this episode it was all part of a plan. So I think that she wasn't a victim, that she is actually the person who lives in that home. And she has taken on the appearance of Annie, and now she has stuff that was Annie's that is integral to the boys, probably. I don't know what she took. I didn't take a moment to read those documents, but they'll probably reveal it in the future. But yeah, Annie is chained up by the end of the episode. I wonder where that's gonna lead. But yeah, this episode was wild. The finale is gonna be wild. I hope A-Train doesn't die because he goes through his little redemption here too, where he verbalizes the thoughts that were in the previous episode where he saved Mother's Milk, and a kid saw him, and I think that just goes to show the amount of character growth he's gone through. From being another soup, another heartless soup who just does what he's told, smiles and looks at the camera, to an actual person who doesn't necessarily want to help everyone, but is willing to help people now when he previously didn't want to get involved in anything that would put him in danger. Oh, that reminds me, speaking of that, this episode finally displayed, like, how powerful, well, not powerful, but, like, we finally got to see a display of the Deep's strength. Throughout all of these seasons, I don't think we've ever seen the Deep genuinely, like, throw a punch to anyone. But, you know, we get to see him, and he goes through his little arc too, I forgot to mention this, where he has a fight with his, pet slash girlfriend, Ambrosia. You know, they have their discussion, it gets violent, there's screaming, and at the end he, you know, he puts her to sleep, let's say. You know, the octopus know he was cheating on it, I guess. And yeah. So he ends up, you know, doing away with her. And I guess that makes him snap because, like, even though he did care about the octopus, at the end of the day, the Deep is still a piece of shit. So, you know, he snaps, he goes to Homelander and is like, yeah, sure, I'll do whatever you want. And it's revealed to us that he is tasked with going to, you know, fight, or take care of, butcher the boys, basically. So they pull up and they start fighting. Black Noir, the new Black Noir's narcolepsy comes into play, where he falls asleep mid-battle, and it's pretty funny. And Annie beats the shit out of Deep after they gain the advantage, because at first they're losing, because, you know, it's Annie, who, most of her powers come from her light attacks, that she can't use right now. But she still has, like, the basic superhero powers. And Butcher uses a shotgun against well, not just a shotgun, but, like, various weaponry against these villains. He tries summoning his Moon Knight powers with Ezekiel. Well, not Ezekiel, with fuck, I forgot his name. The guy from The Walking Dead, I forgot his name. He tries summoning those powers, it doesn't work, but you know, Mother's Milk and A-Train pull up, and, you know, they start helping, and Black Noir and the Deep figure out that A-Train is the leak. But they get, so one problem I have with this is that they get the Deep, like, on his knees. They get him on his deathbed, right? And Annie grabs a weight, like a circular weight you put on for, like, reps or something. And I, like, you know, I'm no superhero expert, but I think if they just, you know, really just started, you know, smashing the Deep's neck with this weight, with their superhero strength, I think they could take them out. For some reason, they think that, you know, like, the Deep starts bleeding from this shit. So if they can bleed, that means something has ripped, right? So that means, like, this is just a nitpick. I think they could have killed the Deep right then and there. I would have been fine with it. You know, he reveals that he feels no remorse for what he did to Annie. He doesn't care. He doesn't feel anything towards it. And, you know, I think that deserved his death in that scene. I'm not gonna lie. He's a funny character. He's not really an interesting character. He's just entertaining character, I guess. Yeah. Oh, also, it's revealed that Sage was also, like, having affairs with Black Noir, but, like, I don't know, like, pre-lobotomy, I guess? Because she would only do it with the Deep when she was lobotomized, but with Noir, she was completely fine doing it. Yeah. Ryan almost reveals stuff to Homelander. Well, stuff on, like, about Homelander, well, Butcher makes him iffy on the idea if he should stay where he is with Homelander, and, you know, he's probably going to figure out that Homelander's not the greatest guy eventually. He's been keeping up a facade with Ryan, but it's not going to last long. And also at the end of this episode, Butcher passes out and Annie is trapped somewhere, and her identity has been taken over by a shapeshifter. That's terrible. I don't know if I mentioned that they figured out the virus and that Frenchie helped with it. And, you know, the guy, I don't blame him. He betrays them. I don't blame him. He was trapped there against his will. And then he stabs Kimiko, and, you know, she starts to die. So Frenchie saws off her leg. That was pretty gross. But yeah, the whole season's been pretty good. You know it, it's just been a wonderful ride through and through this entire show. I hope that they don't fumble the ending and that it all turns out well. But yeah, that's it.